we have the former Secretary of State, Mike Pompeo. Welcome back, Mr. Secretary. How are you, sir?
I am good. It's good to be back with you again, Simon. Hope you're well.
I'm exceptionally well. Thank you for asking. It's very interesting. So we obviously have contact with your staff. Let's get the secretary back on, and we're going to talk about a specific thing and quote news of the day. I mean, we could do news of the day for about 3 hours, couldn't we? Right now.
Yes. Not much of it good, given that week and year.
Right.
Yeah.
Have you ever, I mean, I'm racking my brains and I can't think of one. Have you ever known of an American president having a top-level summit with somebody like Putin? Doesn't have to be Putin, can be anyone, but somebody like him, and then having a solo press conference?
No, it's unheard of. It surely demonstrates an absence of confidence, of weakness. I can assure you that President Putin was prepared to do it. He thought he could handle himself. Apparently, our president doesn't believe that he can, and it was with good reason, right? They showed up having already emptied the gun, right? They've denied American energy resources. Putin loves that. When you join the Paris Climate Accord, the Russians are thrilled. They're going to sell their energy to the market. We gave him a nuclear treaty, got nothing. We'd already taken away all the leverage that he might have had in this debate. Now he's showing up to have this conversation on goodness knows what.
Amazing stuff. We will come back to news of the day. I just wanted to throw that one straight out there because I want to get to the main reason we're having you on right now. You have launched a new organization. It's called Champion American Values, CAV, because of course you were in the CAV, weren't you? You were in the cavalry.
A few years back I was a cavalryman. In those days, I remember our mission said it was to be fearless. It was to ride into the battle and to sound the alarm when you were in trouble. And America's certainly in a bad place. And CAVPAC, you can go see it at CAVPAC.com, is going to sound the alarm and go help conservative candidates be successful in November of 22, from city council all the way up to the United States Senate.
Right. So everyone seems to have a PAC these days, and of course there are different rules for PACs in terms of the money and everything else, but in order for this organization that you have just launched today to be successful, that's what it needs, money, right?
So we need resources to do it. We're going to be small and mighty and I hope really efficient, but it does take some resources to travel around, to talk about the things that impact the lives of ordinary people, like in my home state of Kansas or in yours there in Iowa. You've got to be on the ground. You've got to do it. You've got to have a little team to support your effort. That's why we're doing it. That's why we created the organization. We'll go out and talk about ways that I think that will inevitably lead to good things in November.
Right. I mean, you are traveling. The stuff we know about, Miami, Dallas, we're aware of. Let's see, where else are you going to? Here, of course.
Nebraska, Texas, California, all across the country.
Yeah. And you're going to be at the Reagan Library just a couple of weeks after I'm going to be at the Reagan Library. We take 60 Iowans with us to California every single year, right around July the 4th, and we call it the Freedom Tour, by the way. You'll be delighted to know.
That's awesome.
And, of course, Reagan used to work on two of the radio stations that you're on right now, WOC and WHO. And so we get an invite to the Reagan Ranch, which, as I'm sure you've been there, and I'm equally sure you know, it's not open to the public. But we get invited. And so I take 60 Iowans to the Battleship Iowa. And by the way, you have an invitation from me. I'm on the board of trustees. We need to see you on the Battleship Iowa in the port of LA. We go to the Nixon Library, the Reagan Library, and we'll be there just a couple of weeks before you. So you're going to Simi Valley. What are you doing there?
That's really special. I'm going to be at the Reagan Library talking about the future of the Republican Party, and frankly, I'll spend more time talking less about the party and more about the conservative movement, the very reason you're headed out with your gang of 60 out to California. These ideas about family and practicing our faith, these things matter. The conservative movement needs to be the bedrock for American success, and I'm going to go talk about how I believe best to deliver that.
Right. I mean, that's important stuff. That's exactly the kind of thing that we get up to. Let's go back to this CAVPAC as well. You, of course, started out in West Point, right?
Yes, almost 35 years ago I graduated, a long time ago.
And actually, the daughter of our senator, one of our senators, Joni Ernst.
That's right.
Her daughter's in West Point right now.
Yes, I wish her all the best. She's doing great. It sounds like
she is doing great. Yeah.
The places that these are the places that instilled the values in me. It was also the thing that reminded me that America gave me an enormous opportunity to go serve in the United States Army as a graduate of West Point. It was an enormous blessing, and I want to make sure those same kinds of opportunities, not necessarily that one, but those kinds of opportunities accrue to people like me who came from an ordinary family growing up in middle-class America, and I got this chance to go to this great place and set me on the trajectory that gave me lots of opportunity. That's what America is best about.
Of course, we're down to less than 1% now of Americans put the uniform on. My son, of course, was a CAV soldier not that long ago, very recently, but less than 1% now.
No, it's something. It's one of the reasons, frankly, I think that the name CAVPAC is important, reminding people of our great soldiers, sailors, and airmen, and now folks in the Space Force who are out there doing this hard work. And the fact that those ideas, whether you served in the uniform or not, those ideas about making sure that you defend the things that you care about, that you don't let them cancel you, you work every day to make clear why it is you care so much about these things. That CAVPAC can be and even a small part of advancing that kind of central thesis for the American people, these ideas that matter so much, then we'll have done a good turn, and that'll make us more likely to be successful and make sure that President Biden has as short a runway as possible.
Over here in Iowa, Governor Reynolds just signed into law a law that bans the teaching of critical race theory. It's not worded in that way, but it does. That's what it does. It doesn't ban teaching of history, all history, but it bans the teaching of to kids that hey, you're guilty because you're white and you're oppressed because you're black. That's not allowed. We're not allowed to do that anymore here in Iowa, and I think that's a good thing. Over in Virginia, however, a school board member just told students to remember jihad as she was giving the commencement speech.
Well, I hope she's soon to be a former teacher. I'm all about history. We should have a variety of ideas presented to our young people, but they should all be factually based.
Yep.
It is not a fact. It's not a fact that America was founded on a set of racist ideas. Indeed, just the opposite. Talks about everyone being created equal. We don't get that right in execution every day, but there's no nation in the world that has been as fair and as equitable as the United States, and we work towards that more perfect union every day. And so this critical race theory is crazy stuff to talk about. People who just want equality being racist, we've got to stamp it out, not only in our K through 12 schools, but in our universities as well.
Right, places like Columbia that held 6 graduations, segregated graduation, literally what they did. I imagine Martin Luther King Jr., if he had witnessed that, he'd have been absolutely appalled.
Never wanted to divide by skin color. Indeed, he spoke of just the opposite.
Exactly.
Judged by the content of our character. And
exactly.
For people for large swaths of the Democrat Party now to have walked away from that central understanding about who we are as Americans presents an enormous amount of risk. I met with the Taliban. I worked with the Chinese. If we get this wrong, this presents a greater risk to the United States than any of our foreign adversaries.
We're talking to Secretary Mike Pompeo, our former Secretary of State. Let me ask you this final thing before I have to let you go because of our time restraints here. Israel has a new leadership team. I just want to make it clear, because people don't seem to understand this. This is still a conservative group. In fact, the conservatives in the Israeli parliament number some 72 out of the 120. So it's still a conservative group. What do you know about them?
So Prime Minister Naftali Bennett is indeed conservative. He has, unfortunately, to form a government, had to ally with some folks who are not. On the issues of security and the relationship with the United States, I still have confidence that Israelis across the political spectrum will get this right, but internally, this will be a very difficult coalition for him to manage. What America needs to do is we need to make sure we know our relationship is with the state of Israel. We need to continue to support them. I think it's just really dangerous that this administration has chosen to go back to funding organizations which will leak money to Palestinian terrorists and is supporting Iran in ways that will create risk for Israel. That's dangerous for Israel. When Israel is at risk, the rest of this important relationship is also there. I hope this government will continue, as Prime Minister Netanyahu did, and implore America to get this right, and that the American people will demand that President Biden get it right as well.
I'm almost certain you can't comment because of your previous position. I give this coalition 2 months. You want to put a number on the table?
I don't, but I also don't envy any. But I don't envy any of those leaders who try and figure out how to run a decision-making process inside a coalition that includes leftists and Arab parties, along with some of the most conservative leaders in Israel. It'd be really tough.
Right. Absolutely. 2 months. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo, his PAC is now launched. You can find out more at CAVPAC.com, CAVPAC, CAVPAC.com. He will be in Iowa next month, and we look forward to welcoming you here, sir, and to having you back on the show.
You too.
You take care. Have a great day.
We'll talk to you soon.
Absolutely. Absolutely.